Inverse trigonomic functions reverse the operations of trigonomic functions. Here I have sine x, and here is the inverse of sine x, arc sine x. And what has happened is the domain and range has switched just like all the other inverse functions. But in this case, the x's have to be limited to -1 and 1 because the range in y is equal to sine x is -1 and 1, between -1 and 1. Also, the y's are restricted because as I go along this way, or in the minus direction, if I turn this sideways, it would not be a function. So in order for this to be a function, I have to restrict it between 90 degrees and -90 degrees. Because when I switch to domain and range, now I would not have a function if it continued going back down this way, or if I went down this way, it continued back down, then it would not be a function. So it needs to be restricted. And there isn't really a whole lot to say. It's the same concept of all of the other inverse functions. If I have some ratio, then I do the inverse of either the sine, arc sine, arc cosine, or arctan, and all of these are basically the same. Cosine, it's pretty much the same as the sine, except it's shifted. The only one that's a little bit different is tangent, because its range has no restrictions. Its range goes from positive infinity to minus infinity, so there would be no restriction on the x. However, it would be limited to 90 degrees and -90 degrees as well in order for it to be a function. So that's the only one that's slightly different. But there's no need to do a graph and all of that. They're all pretty much the same. But essentially what these inverse functions do is I have some ratio, a number, and then if I do the inverse sine, cosine, or tangent, it gives me the angle corresponding to that ratio. And also it works to, like, if I have sine x and then I take the arc sine of this is equal to just x. So same idea as all the other inverse functions. The only thing that's a little bit different about the sine and cosine is that the domain and range have a few problems, because it will either not be a function, or just due to the fact of the unit circle, it only has values between -1 and 1.